My name is Don Miller, and I major in biology at UCSD and I have a master's degree in curriculum. The talk today has to do with revolutionizing education. I wanted to begin with a story about bees. When bees are working a plant, you might have 100 bees working a plant with 300 flowers. And they do the strangest thing. They'll hover over the flowers and then they'll just basically go kind of randomly around the plant, and suddenly they'll land and then they'll take off and do the same thing. No one knew why they were doing it. And scientists have found what's happening is the flowers themselves are negatively electrically charged. And what's happening, the reason for that is because the earth itself is negatively charged because of lightning strikes and other things. So the charge travels up the plant and goes on to the flowers. So what the bees are doing is, as they're flying, they become positively charged because they're losing electrons with friction with the air. So this positively charged bee lands on a negatively charged flower, changes the charge of the flower after it takes off for about 20 minutes. During that time, the plant has the ability to refuel itself, to put the nectar back inside of it for the next visiting bee. So what the bees are doing is they're scanning over the flower bush, trying to find ones that are negatively charged. If they're negatively charged, that means that they have a fresh supply of pollen. Okay, so I wanted to start by sharing that example and then build from there to show how you can revolutionize science education. The first thing I'd like to do is to redefine what science is. And what I do is I call it science with a capital S. Science with a capital S is the study of what is. It could be the study of your body, the study of insects or animals or technology, computers, like just anything that is, and also the study of how to apply it in order to make things that will be. Now, the way that when I was in high school or junior high, I was not that excited at all about science. It's because science was not so much that as it was something somebody dictated that would be taught at our particular grade levels each step of the way. So in studying science with a capital S, as I call it, are we doing it the best way possible? Well, we have to look at our results. Right now, we're at the bottom of the industrialized nations in our performance of our graduating seniors from high school. Secondly, 70% of STEM students that do well in high school will drop out and not graduate with a science-related degree when they're in college. And thirdly, is only 10% of the population that's working in a career is working in science-based careers. So are we doing it the best way possible if we're yielding results like that? When I was younger, I had a chance of teaching continuation school kids. We're involved in every kind of gang activity imaginable. And I saw as I taught them the things about the way the bodies worked and the way flowers worked and trees worked, that they just came alive. They began to learn that they could learn things because they weren't just sitting in a book all day long. They began to get excited. I remember Sal would bring me flowers, and he was a gang leader, and he'd say, "Oh, Don, look at this incredible flower." And I saw their lives change, and moving from sex, drugs, and rock and roll and everything else they were involved in to where they were their lives were expanded upon. To communicate a different way of teaching the study of what is imagine you have Mount Everest, and Mount Everest is behind me. And Mount Everest is making someone love science. Now, how important is that as a goal, is a critical question. Science rules the economies of most nations. And so it's a critical question as to how important the love of science is. Are we teaching science in a way that kids will love it, and so they'll go on with it, or so they'll weather the deserts that inevitably come to them as they're pursuing the study of science in the university? Or are we teaching in a way that's undelightful to kids and undelightful to teachers, and it's killing the very thing that's so necessary in the pursuit of science? So is there a whole different way to do science? I think there is. I think the way to do it is to just bring out one delightful thing after another after another. The bee is an example. It's just like something that can change your life. And I believe that we should start doing when kids are young. How important is kindergarten through 5th grade in science education? They say that what a child loves by 10 is totally defining for the rest of their life. So if we can capture the young market by the time kids are 10 and totally change the way kids are taught in science, I think there's a revolution that could happen there. And if we keep in mind the Everest behind us, that the real goal is creating a love for science, that will change everything. So making everything a delight. So take half the textbook, throw it away. What about the test? Throw the test away. Since when does America need to follow the ways of the world? We took the British on because we changed the way we fought. and we're able to do something that's never been done before. Can we teach science in a way that will bring more creativity and industry that's effective, that springs out of science itself? And I believe so. I believe part of it is taking $10 billion, random number, throwing it into education and trying to make our K through 10 years old the best program in the world for kids, and centering in on delight. Deep science being taught that will create an awareness of kids for the beauty and wonder of the world around us.